Ciao, Napoli Nation. Welcome back to the channel. We're here for episode 4. Mario, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. A little bit better. I'm feeling good after the win. I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. It's a winning streak, right? I mean,
Yep.
every time we do a show, we're talking about a win. I'm a little bit anxious that we're going to have a show at some point where we're talking about,
Yeah.
a draw or even a loss. So hopefully that doesn't
Loss.
happen anytime soon. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon with the schedule coming up, but we'll get into that a little bit later. First, let's go over everything we're going to be talking about. So we're, of course, going to go over the 2-1 win against Roma.
Hmm.
We'll talk about the game coming up this weekend against Spezia on the road. I'm going to get into the rest of the season a little bit and just talk about how many more wins Napoli really needs to actually clinch the scudetto. We'll get into a little bit of the news that's been out there, some stuff with ADL. The Tri-State Napoli Club organized a meet in New York City, and a bunch of
Awesome.
clubs came out, and the footage on that was amazing. So I just want to
Yeah,
talk about that for a second. And then,
for
of
sure.
course, like always, transfer market, Napoli drip, and then I'll mention everywhere that I stuffed my face while I was in Napoli. Okay.
All
All right,
right.
let's get right into it, man. So, wow, the atmosphere at the State of Mario. I wish you were there with me, son, because it was
Me
amazing.
too. I bet it was
It
awesome.
was the atmosphere was just as goosebumpy, if I could say that, as it was against Juve, just with the
Really?
way that people were. Oh man, it was awesome. The thing
Wow.
that they did at the beginning with the lights and everything, I think
Mm.
really made it more exciting. And then, the game in itself made it more exciting than the Juve game, I think, just watching the game and the anxiety going through and all that, because Roma played a really good game. They
Yeah.
they brought it, and I knew that they were going to bring it.
Yeah.
Roma's in form. Mourinho wants to show out. Him and
Hmm.
Spalletti have that relationship, so you knew that Mourinho was going to actually have his boys ready, and
Yep.
that was what was great about the game too. Is just the actual atmosphere. Is that it was a really good game to watch. But let's get into like the lineup and who played well and just talk about that a little bit. The first thing that I noticed that I don't think a lot of people were really thinking was going to happen was Chucky started. Man, what'd you think about that?
Loved it. We've been talking about Chucky starting for a minute now. I mean, it's been the past 2 episodes that we said Politano needs to not start. He's been looking sluggish. And honestly, I think Chucky did good enough this game. He didn't do the best, but he did good enough. He did his job. He was up and down the right side of that field like a freaking maniac. The heat map that I saw him cover was crazy. Um, People say that he was at fault for that shot that he took on that fast break. I don't know how you could be mad at that. They gave him space. The shot was great. The block was even better. It was going in. It was going in. There's no debate about that. It was right up on the arc of the top left of the post there. It was going in. But he had a couple great crosses as well. He had a good game. So yeah, Chucky, he should continue starting. The thing about him is we know he's not the most consistent player we have, and that's one of his flaws. But again, we've never really gave him a full chance, so he can't really be at fault for that.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a while. Like he thrives off a rhythm. If he's
Right.
not starting, 3 or 4 games in a row, I think that has a lot to do with his inconsistency. So I'm hoping that game is going to be like that match where Spalletti can see what he can get out of Chucky, because I mean, no matter who you prefer to play, there's no doubt that everybody has to admit that Politano is just he's just too one-dimensional,
Yeah.
and we need a little bit more dynamic of a play
But I
from that
mean,
position.
Politano is great at coming back on the defense side, but once he stops doing that, and he's almost useless for us, and that's what he hasn't performed at all. Like in anything, him being sluggish is not gonna, you know, he can't come back. He's like a
Chucky
sluggish.
and Chucky tracked back in this game
Yeah, yeah.
more often than I think I've ever seen him. So
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see what happens there. About that goal, for me, watching it from the stands, I was like, "Oh my God, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do?" And then when he shot that shot, watching from the stands, I was pissed, because
Man.
watching from the stands, it looked like he had an opportunity to go right or left with the pass.
I
And
mean, he
I
did,
watched the
but
replay. So I watched the replay. And
mm,
if you look and see what the defenders did, you could tell that the defenders
yeah,
were
they were
going to
giving him
move.
space.
They were
Yeah,
moving off of him. They were moving
yeah,
off of him. So I
exactly,
think he made the right decision after watching the replay. But the one thing I wish he
100%.
would have done, I think he should have shot the ball lower and tried to get near to one of the posts, because I think it would have been harder for the goalie to get a hand on that. What do you
So
think?
hard to do something like that though when you're running at a pace that he was, and to stop yourself. People always call him out for his ball control. What do you do? Here you go. I mean, that was good ball control right there. What do you want from the guy?
Yeah.
It was a great shot, better block. That's it. That's all that was.
And the reaction that I got from the stands when I was just paying attention to what was going on, I was expecting people to lose their mind on him when he took that shot. But honestly,
Mm,
it wasn't that bad. There was a little bit of rumblings, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So I'm hoping, I mean, because he played a good game. He was
yeah,
hustling. He had some really good crosses, like you said. And most of the time, the fans were happy with his play. And I don't think they've been very happy with Politano's play lately.
no,
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully
hope
that
not.
starts a trend with him, starting a little bit more. And Politano didn't even play. He didn't even
Yeah,
sub
no.
in, man. Elmas came
He
in.
was cheering
So,
his ass off though. Yeah.
but to get back on the match and just the performance, so like everybody played good. I don't think anybody played bad, but I also think Roma played a really good game.
Mhm.
And when the game was, it was tied 1-1. I was trying not to think about what the result could be with the tie. I was just trying just to focus on watching the game and not get anxious and all that. But man, you could see when Simeone and Raspadori came in, you could see right away that something was happening. Like, even if they didn't score and the game ended a tie, you could tell that they were trying to win the game. And when
Yeah.
Spalletti talked about his when he did the post match conference, and he was asked some type of question that had to do with how they were playing everything. One of the things that he said is, this is a team that doesn't accept tying anymore. They don't want to ever draw a game. So that was good to
Yeah,
hear Spalletti say that. And then I think Cavada had an impact on the game. I don't think he was very
definitely.
clinical. That one cross by Lozano was right where it needed to be, and Cavada couldn't control it too well. I don't know if it was better for him to take it on the first touch,
No, he had
but
an
what did
opportunity
you?
to stop it and then take a shot. He just had a bad first touch, which we don't see at all from Cavada. So I mean, we can't really
Yeah,
get mad at the guy. He's not perfect. We're all human. Even people like Messi can mess up their first touch. Very rare. But even they can mess it up. A goat like him. We see it all the time with professional players. It's fine. What were you saying about Chucky's cross? What about it? That it was good?
yeah, that the cross
Hmm.
that Chucky made was
Oh yeah, it was
exactly
great.
where it needed to be, and
Yeah,
Cavada
that was
just had that.
he had a few of them too, not just one. So
Yeah, and that's, I mean, when Chucky's on with his crosses,
hmm
they're like where they need to be for somebody to get a foot on it to score too. So I'm just hoping he plays a little bit more. But anyway,
yeah,
Zelensky. So I predicted that Zelensky was going to score a goal, because I really felt like Zelensky was at least going to play good in this game, because I think
hmm
it's time for him to get, like, he needs to prove that he's still that guy. And he had a really good game. He didn't score, but I mean, what did you see with Zelensky in his play? Do you think that he had a game that he can build upon, and he can start really being that guy in the midfield that we've actually been missing for quite a bit?
yeah. I mean, we've talked about Zelensky in the past couple episodes that he hasn't been as clinical or as I guess um, he hasn't really been in the attack like he usually has. But this game, he proved us differently. He was up in Roma's midfield and defense almost most of his game. Also he had an assist to Simeone. Can't get more happy than that. I mean, that's what he does. He's not a goal scorer. He's really not a goal scorer. I've always said this. Sure, he does have a shot, probably inside the box, but outside he always seems to kind of like struggle. I don't know if that's just me if I've noticed that, but he just throws a lot of bangers like up the top post. Sometimes it's just I don't know. It kind of makes me mad. But other than that, great game. He was always participating in every attack that we really had. Honestly,
Yeah, going back to that assist he had, when I
yeah,
was watching the replay, I really didn't notice much about that play other than that crazy goal by Cholito. But he drew two defenders and then just left it off to Cholito, and Cholito turned on it, and that was a really good play by Zelensky, the
oh
way
yeah,
that he drew the defenders and got up into the box and then laid it off for him. So I was really
that's
happy
that's
to
prime
see
Zelensky.
that. Yeah, but quite possibly the goal of the season in Serie
Hmm.
A by Victor.
Oh, for sure.
That was
I mean,
crazy.
as of now, his goal
I
is in
mean,
Serie A. Yeah,
he touched the ball with every part of his body
and
almost,
it
right?
didn't drop on the floor.
Like, yeah,
Never
like
drop.
the only part of his body that he missed touching the ball was his head. Like
Yeah,
chest, knee, and then he oh man, and there's a picture out there of when he actually struck the ball, and seeing the way that his body was formed when he struck the ball is freaking
he was going
crazy.
for a cannon. You could just tell. Telling you, man, the
Oh
guy's
my god.
improved so much over these last couple of seasons. It's crazy to see his growth. Crazy.
And you know what? What's crazy, more crazy about that is that he can still improve. Like there's still
Oh,
things
of
that he can
course.
hone on his game to get even
We said
better.
it.
I am
We said it
so
last
excited
episode.
about
He has
him.
so much more potential. People know that.
And there was somebody out there on Twitter that said that Victor Osimhen is already better than Cavani. What do you think about that?
If he wins the scudetto, yeah, definitely. Cavani didn't win us any scudettos. We got a Copa with him, right? Or is that not with him? That was just with Lavezzi. Was
No,
Cavani
no,
there?
we won a Coppa.
He
We
was
won a
there,
Coppa
right? Yeah.
Italia with Cavani. Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough.
So,
But
but
that's
look.
not no scudetto, and you know how you feel about the Coppa Italia. So
Yeah, but look at this now. Who
mm-hmm.
did Cavani have to play with?
Hamsik, Lavezzi. He had a good prime midfield too. I mean, Gargano wasn't bad, you know. He wasn't too bad.
Gargano was not
I'm
Lobotka.
joking. I'm joking.
I mean,
No,
come
yeah.
on, man. Cavani
Yeah, he
had
didn't have the same
only
team.
Lavezzi and Hamsik. He was playing with Mazzari as the coach.
Mazzari's a
You
good
know, I think
coach.
maybe he had 1 year with Benitez, maybe if I remember right. Dude, Cavani
Mm.
has nowhere near the tools that Victor's got with this Napoli club, man. Nowhere near the tools.
Yeah, but I feel like they both have the same impact, but Victor just has more tools. Because whenever we don't have Osimhen in the game, I mean, you can't lie. Our attack isn't nearly the same. Whenever Cavara wasn't in there, we still perform with Osimhen up top. He's a different breed for me. I don't know. He brings something else to the table that Cavani didn't for me. And I love El Matador. I love him. Right, like our Napoli trio. I don't think we'll ever have anything better than that. Just from like a nostalgic and a passionate viewpoint. Obviously, like I'm not saying it won't ever happen that we won't have like a better trio, but this season we're gonna win the fucking Scudetto. So
I know it, man. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at like just the talent and what they bring to the game, I think they're about level right now.
mhm.
But if Victor wins the Scudetto, it's hard not to put Victor above Cavani.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's there yet.
Napoli
I
fans are already gonna put him up with Maradona. I'm telling you, it's gonna be crazy. Watch, you're gonna be surprised.
We're gonna
Trust
get
me.
into some transfer talk in a little bit about Victor Osimhen.
Hmm.
And one Scudetto, the Napolitani are not gonna put him on the same level as Maradona, but he
Some people
does
will
have an
trust me.
not very many, Mario. I'm telling you, it just one Scudetto ain't gonna do it, man. He's gonna have to get more
Yeah,
than
it's
one,
been
but he can.
33 years. I'm telling you, that can
Yeah,
do
it
a
has
lot
been
to
a long
people.
time. It has
Mhm.
been a long time, man. But there's people that still remember those Scudetti with Maradona.
Yeah,
There's people that still remember winning that
three
UEFA
decades
final, man.
ago.
I mean, yeah. I know, we'll see. I think he has the opportunity to do that, but I think he needs to do more than just winning one Scudetto this year. Like
Hmm.
if he could get to the Champions League final this year, which isn't unrealistic,
No,
like if they actually got to the final,
yeah.
now we're talking, right? Now we're getting
Hmm.
to where he's really, really close because
No.
the Champions League final would be crazy. You know what I
And then
mean?
winning it, man.
Yeah, winning it, man. God. So it's not like unrealistic.
No,
Napoli
yeah,
has
this is our
got a good
most
enough
realistic
roster.
year. I mean,
I
it's not
mean,
crazy to think about it.
Atletico Madrid, when they won it, that wasn't
Mhm.
just, that wasn't like 30 years ago. That was pretty recent. So
Yeah.
I
And then
don't
even
know.
when
I think
Ajax
that
went, they didn't win it, but they still performed. I mean, they still got there, and Ajax was an underdog as well. We're a much better team than Ajax when they were playing. I don't care what no one says.
a little bit more about the game. So let's talk about man of the match and flop of the match, right? Who do you
Okay.
have as your man of the match for that win against Roma?
I have Zielinski. We just talked about him earlier, but he created the play for Simeone. He set him up. Like he said, he blew by two defenders and got his assist. He was also very involved in the attack most of the game. Flop of the match, I have Paulo Dybala. I can't say nobody on our team because we all performed well. But Dybala is supposed to be a top 5 Serie A player from what I was seeing on a lot of Twitter stuff, and he didn't perform at all.
So
Yep.
for me, Mario, my man of the match, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna say it's Chucky Lozano, and here's why I'm saying it's Chucky Lozano.
Wow.
He is definitely under pressure right now because all that anybody is talking about when it comes to Napoli needing to improve their roster is that right wing position, right? He's been dealing with pressure for quite a long time, especially since he made that comment about wanting to go to a bigger club. He knows deep down inside that he's not one of the favorite players for the Napolitani. So there was a lot of pressure for him to actually perform in this game. And the fact that he was tracking back so much, which has not been one of the things that he really does consistently and people get upset about.
Yeah.
I thought for me, the way that he performed, for me, he was man of the match. And then flop of the match, here we go. Dude, it's Jose Mourinho. He
Yeah.
celebrated a loss.
No.
Did you see that? He
That's what happens
posted
when
on
you're a
social
dominant team.
media celebrating a loss. What
Can we
is
just say?
that?
Can we just talk about him real quick too? He's such a sore freaking loser. He just displayed his best trait, being a sore loser, man. Did you see what he said about man? He's like a Drogba, but he flops. Like, what is that? That's literally like no out of
Yeah.
context shit. That's what he said, really, for real. Like, I'm like, wow. And he said
Yeah.
Napoli has great players, but no one compares to Paulo Dybala. Your freaking star boy did nothing all game, man. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, you can't deny that Jose Mourinho has a good track record. Like he won the treble with
Oh,
Inter.
yeah, of
He's
course. The
he's
only
won
Italian side to
several
win the treble.
trophies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Champions League with Porto,
So
of course. But we can't
yeah.
deny that he's a sore fucking loser.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
agree. I agree. And I think it's even worse for him when he loses against a compadre like Spalletti. He wants to
By the way,
beat
Spalletti never beat Mourinho like prior to the other Roma game as well. I don't know what the record was, but he never like beat him. So now
all
he's
like
2-0
before
this season.
before the games this year. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Yep,
that.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Wow,
Yeah, crazy.
that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
Spalletti, man, is Spalletti's getting to the point where he's going to be noticed
Most Serie
around
A
the
wins all
entire.
time.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, he
Yeah,
hasn't
man.
won that much though, but yeah.
I remember when he came last year, and at the
Hmm.
very beginning of the season, I was like, okay, we have a
Fourth
coach
place team.
now.
Top 4 guaranteed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, we have a coach now
Hmm.
that is used to winning and is used to, even though he was winning trophies in Russia, he was still doing it. So he understood
Oh
what it
yeah.
took to
I
get
forgot.
players to perform in that specific league. But he had
Hmm.
never won a trophy in Serie A. And I'll be honest with you, last year when we picked him up, at the very beginning, I was like, okay, let me look around and see how this guy does. But once I figured out what he could offer, I was like,
Yeah.
why can't we think about the Scudetto already last year? So at the very beginning of the season, I felt like he was a coach that was good enough for them to fight for the Scudetto.
Yeah.
And they were until he decided just to start like playing a little bit safer, making
Yeah.
sure they make top four and they get the Champions
Hmm.
League. And
Yep.
I think he needed that 1 year to really understand the potential of who he had. And then these additions that he got this year, I think that it took him 2 or 3 matches and he was like, "Oh shit, oh man, I got a team right now." So
Yeah.
I'm and you know what? And he has a really intimate relationship with the fans too, and I love that about him.
Yeah. He is awesome. He's a cool
Yeah.
ass guy. I can't lie. Spallettone. That's
He's
what I would call him.
he's even stylish, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like
he's
with
got some
the
drip. He got some drip.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's enough about that match. You have anything else to say about that match, Mario?
Forza
Anything
Napoli.
else you want to
Roma
mention?
merda.
Ah!